And I think that's like one of the key points about vulnerability and like just brotherhood in general is that like you have to initiate it.
Yeah.
You know, like it doesn't, as much as you want things just to happen, you got to kind of push the edge on things if you want things to improve.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I want to just go punch my wife in the shoulder and be like, bear my pain.
Yeah.
Right. Like, there's a certain element of like having like an injury, like, and being able to share like, yeah, I'm injured, but like your wife can't like carry that pain for you, right? Like if you pull a hammy, right, she can't pull a hammy too.
Yeah.
Like it just want to make sense.
In today's world, Catholic men face countless challenges on the road to holiness. Addiction, anger, self-doubt, relationship struggles, and so much more. These battles can leave us stuck in mediocrity. But the truth is, we're made for more. The world needs good men. Welcome to the Hey Brother podcast, where we dive into these real struggles and share from our own experience as brothers and husbands and fathers. Together, we'll explore how to overcome life's challenges and become the men God created us to be. So grab a seat, brother, and remember, you're not alone.
Something more natural.
Yeah.
Like if we just cut in right here, people will be happy with that.
It'd be probably better.
Yeah, maybe people can drop us in the comment section if they enjoy the banter. Put a heart in the comment section if they dislike the banter.
Or throw a good old Go Bucks.
There we go.
National champions 2025.
Yeah, that game got more exciting than I thought it was going to be at the end. Showman.
Yeah, it was never worried. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like so simultaneously like the game was over for the whole second half, but got like interesting, but it was still never like, it felt closer than what it was, right?
Yeah.
But like, you want to talk about brotherhood? That class, the 2020 Ohio State recruiting class, that like this was their final year. That storyline, man's crazy. But they all came back for their last year, and then the one thing that was crazy about them too is like how faithful like the team was.
Yeah.
Because like before the season, I don't know how many people know about this, but like, it was led by Trey Henderson and G. Scott and one other, the big guy. I forget one of the big names, but amongst like 12 other guys. But they had like baptisms going on like in the middle of campus.
That's legit.
Yeah, they were like out there baptizing people.
Yeah,
probably like hundreds, if not thousands, of people. And then like you watch them in the pregame, you know how like they run out of the tunnel, and then, like there's always like a row of people that are like kneeling down to pray. And, like by the end of the season, probably like there's like 90 players on the team.
Yeah,
probably all but like 15 of them would be kneeling on a yard line praying before the game.
Wow. And I like thinking about like the coach on the other side with the national championship with Marcus Freeman. I think he did some crazy stuff for Notre Dame, like to get to a national championship, like, and then like compete in a national championship.
Yeah.
Like, to get down 31-7 against the juggernaut of Ohio State.
Yeah.
And, like, keep your team in it. Like,
keep the guys motivated.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, there's something special there with him and his coaching style. Cause I'm just like,
I hear that. And I really thought the same thing before the Natty, but yeah, it was like he outcoached Kirby to beat Georgia. Right. He outcoached James Franklin, but that's not very hard to do.
Sure.
Not saying I could do it, but I'm just saying he's not a good coach.
Yeah. And then he outcoached himself in the national championship.
Well, there were some very, very questionable things going on.
Yeah.
Doing.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Why fake the punch? Just line up they were getting 2 yards every quarterback run.
I know, right? Like
to that point. It's just like,
yeah.
They lined up in a funky formation and put the backup quarterback in. So everyone in the brother knew that it was going to be a fake.
Yeah.
It would have worked, but
the guy didn't catch it.
it was a catchable pass, but that's like why you don't put your punt team out there. You got freaking Joe Schmo, who's like probably his second target on the season.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even know who it is, if that's right or not, but still, you know, you could be throwing it to, what the heck was that one guy's
Great House.
Great House.
Yeah.
Yeah. Throw it to him, or run the quarterback, or give it to Love. What's his first name?
Smith Love.
That was his last name, but
I don't know.
I thought it was Jeremiah Love, but
Oh, that sounds right. Jeremiah Love. Yeah.
but anyhow, that guy didn't get enough touches in that game either.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the one thing they had for them is the quarterback run, but they couldn't go to it early because exactly what happened was going to happen. We were going to find a stop to it, and then after that, they don't have anything.
Right. Yeah. Until they started finding. I mean, they started finding great others.
Yeah, but that was too little, too late. We were already in a safe defense, right?
Right.
We're in a don't give up a big play and let them score in a play kind of mode.
And then they let up a big play and let him score on a big play with Great House. The one move the Great House had, he was just like,
well, yeah, we
showed out.
We kind of forgot to tackle.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But I don't know. Anton was probably rooting for Notre Dame. He's from Indiana. That's our little segue into Anton.
That'll work. Yeah.
Anton's story, which I loved. I loved that. That was definitely like something I'll be honest, like I didn't know what to expect in that interview.
Oh, really?
No idea. Anton reached out to me on Facebook. I'm like, sure, let's do this thing. Like that could have been like the most awkward interview of my life. But it turned out to be one of my favorites so far, just to like sit down and hear what he's doing with the pro-life movement. And
real quick, tell me how you know him.
Yeah. I met him on net, and then
he wasn't your teammate, though.
He wasn't a teammate.
Okay.
He was one of the other 150 missionaries.
I see.
And so I knew him through training and through other net circles. So it was, yeah. So we were Facebook friends, and like when I was launching Hey Brother podcast, he's like, "Hey, can I come onto the show?" I'm like, "Sure." Like, let's go. And he had like a great story about like what he's doing for the pro-life movement, but then also like his impact of Brotherhood with particularly his wife's husband.
His wife's husband.
His wife's
friend. Former roommate.
Exactly. No, but like, I mean, like I think that's a relatable experience for most men where like your wife's friend, husband, like, okay, how am I supposed to get along with this guy?
Yeah.
And stuff starts coming up.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the truth. Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a particular fella in mind that it was very, very not easy to get along with.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah, some of the best relationships start that way though, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, who is this guy? Like, and then things turn out okay.
Yeah, eventually we found a way to be cordial. So that was
the height of the relationship.
That's where it kind of left off.
Cordiality.
We would only see this person like a couple times a year.
Yeah.
And so like I didn't need to get better than that. But
yeah, that's fair.
It got to the point where we could like, not actively not want to be in the same room. And I could tell the feeling was mutual, but
yeah. What was your take from Anton's interview?
And I just like one of the most memorable things is like how he said, how he kind of approached that situation
with his wife's friend's husband.
Yeah. That he, I kind of put myself on the spot a little bit. He approached the guy first, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then
he noticed like there was some sort of friction, some sort of like tension in the relationship. It's like, what is going on? Like, yeah, I think it's where anytime you have like an opportunity for fraternal correction, or even like wanting like a better relationship with somebody, it's always good to start with yourself, right? What's going on inside of me? What's happening inside of me? I think it's easy to play the blame game if you start to point like, hey, why don't you like me?
Like that. I'm a fantastic person.
Exactly.
And I think you need to recognize that more.
Yeah. that leads downhill pretty fast. But that's like, you did a really good job of like recognizing there's something off here and there's something going on inside of me, and starting from that place, but then also pointing to like, and this is like something we learn in like working with couples through mentorship. It's like always point to the underlying good, like the positive,
Yeah.
the underlying positive that's there is like, I want to have a better relationship with you. Our wives are best friends. Like, we're going to see each other. So we should probably have a good relationship.
Yeah, right.
So like, let's look at this.
And I think that's like one of the key points about vulnerability and like just brotherhood in general is that like you have to initiate it.
Yeah.
You know, like it doesn't, as much as you want things just to happen, you got to kind of push the edge on things if you want things to improve.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like, you can't just passively sit there and expect something to change. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though that's like what we would like.
Yeah. I just even think about that with like this last week. There's just been a couple guys that I'm like, you know what? I actually went to like, we like bump into each other through like different events that we have going on.
Sure.
But I'm just like, I want to get a beer with you. Like, and words. I just want to like get a beer one-on-one and hang out with you.
Yeah.
And like become closer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, it's not going to happen until it happens, right? Like until that happens, until it's initiated.
Yeah. Yeah. Until you actually initiate and make that ask, like, it's just not going to happen. And that's something that I was going to talk about. I did talk about in a podcast recently that I was on called The Tangent. So plug for The Tangent. It's a priest out in Connecticut that hosts this with his friend Matt. And they talk about all sorts of things. That's why they call it The Tangent. But they invited me on graciously, and I'm like, sure, yeah, I'll come on. And we got talking about this thing of like how you can artificially find relationship on internet now. Like,
Yeah.
like you experience, it's like the Friends effect. Like you can experience belonging to the Friends group, like the TV show Friends, without actually being a part of that group.
Yeah.
And like the same thing could be said about these kinds of podcasts where we're inviting people into a relationship, which is great. Like we want to invite people into these relationships, our conversations, comment in the comment section below, like please do that. But at the same time, it's like, go find relationship out there. That's what I said on the podcast too. It was like let this be a challenge to you who's listening. Like,
Yeah.
it could change your life.
Yeah.
To go get a beer with a friend. Like,
yeah, and if it's not, if no one's initiating it for you, you got to initiate yourself. And the same thing with like being vulnerable with that person.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't, iron sharpens iron, and like, you just can't expect to fall into it. But you should be actively seeking it out if you don't have it.
Yeah,
it's just like, Anton is inspiring that like brotherhood is so important.
Yeah,
because he even talked about the different levels of vulnerability that you can have. Like, I thought it was really interesting how he said like you can be more like, there's certain things you share with brothers and not your wife, right?
sure. Yeah,
And it's like, yeah, man, like I hear that.
I felt a part of me like kind of like freeze when he said that. I'm like, how do I respond to this?
Yeah.
Like in the moment, because it's like, because it feels so taboo to say that, isn't it? Like it feels like something's off. It feels like, particularly in our culture today, like, what kind of misogynistic pig are you to like withhold information from your wife, right?
Yeah.
Right. And like I felt that like when he said that, even though I knew what he was saying, like is true, and like I've experienced what he's saying. It's like, there's certain things that out of charity, out of love, you share with your brothers that you don't share with your wife. That doesn't mean like let's be clear, like we're not holding back secrets, right? We're not like retaining information from our wives that we shouldn't be retaining, but we're
and you're not necessarily like, talking about her either, right?
Right. Yeah. And that's like our parents' generation problem, probably, right? Like talk about like
the problems to everyone except for your spouse.
Yes. Which is unfortunately true. Like I feel like that's the case a lot of times. With our parents' generation, where it's like, you just kind of freely talk about the problems of marriage, about your wife in negative context, but like it's like that's not what we're talking about when we're saying
No.
degrees of vulnerability. We're saying something different, right?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's something to kind of tease apart there to look at.
Yeah, and it's like, if you're a married man, you kind of know. I think you know what that means, but
Yeah, hard to put an exact finger on it.
yeah,
Yeah, like I mean, like I was pretty honest about this after Riley's interview. Like he shared vulnerably, like he struggled with a porn addiction for a while, and that's like part of my story, like struggling with a porn addiction. And like, did my wife know that at one point in time? Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, right,
Right. Like before we even got married, like that was something we talked about. Like, hey, I struggle with this sexual sin, but I'm not going to go into like
yeah, no,
the nitty gritty with her. Like that's like what I need to talk to a brother about, or you know what I'm learning with mentoring, like what I need to talk to a counselor about, like or a mentor about. But not my wife, right? I can tell my wife.
yeah, yeah. That's I remember at one point in time there was this fella that told me that like all men, he was struggling with sexual things, and he had his either girlfriend or fiance at one of those two levels was his like accountability partner, and I'm like, that's probably not the best move.
Yeah. And why is it not the best move? Because it's like out of charity, right? It's
Right.
not because you don't want them to know, right?
Yeah,
Like you want to share your weaknesses
Yeah.
and vulnerability with them,
exactly.
but you also like want to love and guard their hearts.
Yeah.
And that's why there's a certain charitable act of sharing
Yeah,
certain details with your wife and then like different details with an accountability brother.
right. Yeah. Because I had the same thing like with my wife when we were dating and stuff. I'm like, hey, this is a problem,
Right.
and then door closed.
Yeah. And that's good. Like there's this, and just saying there's a problem, that
Yeah.
takes a lot of courage and vulnerability in and of itself.
Right. And then like maybe like once a month, once every 2 months, sometimes she would ask me, she's like, how's that going? And it'd be like, better or worse,
Yeah.
and then that would be it.
Yeah. And then like, yeah, it's an act of charity, but I mean, maybe people have different takes on that. I'd love to hear like people's thoughts because that's always been my thought with,
Right.
Why does it make sense to withhold different information? And like, that's what Anton shared, like in there. And even to take it out of the context explicitly of sexual sin or like lust, I would even venture to say like what he was experiencing in those interviews with the women who've had abortions.
Yeah.
Like, and that I think that's where he started. Like, there's certain things like you kind of withhold out of protection, out of charity from your wife, and I think that's, the interviews with the ladies who went through abortions, who suffered abortions. He doesn't need to be sharing every last detail of those with his wife. It's probably gonna end up hurting her more than it would actually be drawing him into a deeper relationship with her.
Right.
So yeah, there's
even like some like really like anything like grotesque like that you've seen.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking kind of particularly there was a Netflix series called Dahmer that came out.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah. No one should watch that, but it's a fantastic series. Like, it should win awards.
Yeah.
I was very, very disappointed with myself when I decided to watch that.
Is like I got that Tiger King effect.
No, maybe. I mean, it's just like a true crime kind of effect, but it was like dramatized and like I said, the way they told the story was very, very unique, and like, yeah, just the whole. There's one episode about a deaf dude that, like, they're like 45-minute episodes, I think.
Okay.
First 30 minutes, the name Jeffrey Dahmer isn't even mentioned. You're just following the story of this deaf dude.
Interesting.
And then it ends the way you think it would end. But anyhow,
yeah. But I'm not interested in watching this show. It sounds
don't. Like, if you're a human being, you shouldn't watch the show.
Yeah.
Like, it's like fantastically grotesque and doesn't show the very good, true, and beautiful about
humanity.
Yeah. does show the good, true, and beauty about storytelling.
Story, yeah.
But anyhow, that thing, like, why, like, there was just some things that made me feel a way, and then that was like one of the things I'm like, I'm not talking to him. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to suggest that she watches it. I'm not going to talk about what I've seen. I'm just going to like find someone else that made the mistake of watching it, and then like that can be my outlet.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. And it's like a charitable thing. It's like, yeah, you don't want to put that on your wife. Yeah. It's like, I'm curious, like, there's kind of an analogy of like some sort of physical like wound. It's like, I want to just go punch my wife in the shoulder and be like, bear my pain.
Yeah.
Right. Like, there's a certain element of like having like an injury, like, and being able to share like, yeah, I'm injured, but like your wife can't like carry that pain for you, right? Like if you pull a hammy, right, she can't pull a hammy too.
Yeah.
Like it just want to make sense.
Oh yeah.
In the same way, like you're talking about this documentary, right? Like it did some stuff in you, and like not good stuff.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to be like, yeah, I watched this and it kind of screwed me up. It's another thing to be like, you need to watch it too and feel the same pain as me.
Yeah. No, that's, yeah. If someone tells you to watch that show, they're not your friend,
Yeah.
but they're right. I mean, yeah. No, don't watch it for real.
Yeah. Now you're building like curiosity and suspense around it. Man, it's like having a bad scrape. It's like,
Yeah.
you gotta see it, man. It's ugly, but you need to see it. I'm not gonna watch it.
It's not for the faint of heart.
Well, I think that's probably a good place to leave things off. Don't watch that show. But these are just me and Mitch's thoughts on Anton's interview. We'd love to hear from you guys in the comments about what you guys thought, what struck you from Anton's interview, either here in this episode or go back to Anton's episode, drop a comment there. We really appreciate hearing from you guys. And if this has been a blessing for you and your brotherhood, your experience or relationship, we would love for you guys to share this with other brothers, like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, hope you guys have good brotherhood. I don't know what to say. That's not very good sign off.
Good brotherhood. Good brotherhood, sir.
God bless.